Everybody's had some adventures. Everybody's had a few close calls. Everybody's got a story. What's yours?
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 16 of Cool Story with David J. MacNeil. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. This episode features a conversation with a very talented young performer named Martina Ortiz-Luis. Martina has been singing for as long as she can remember, but ironically, it would be the sports world that would present her with the biggest opportunity of her young life, when in 2016 she stepped out into the limelight as the first ever official anthem singer for the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs. She was 15 years old at the time. The partnership with the Leafs organization provided an opportunity to raise her profile and provide new avenues for her to promote herself as a pop, soul, and R&B artist. As if all that wasn't enough, as she was honing her craft as a singer-songwriter, she was also studying acting for film and television with a Toronto Actors Studio. That work paid off as well, as she recently was invited to play Rachel Valdez, a recurring character in the 4th season of the popular sci-fi series Winona Earp, which is nominated for a 2020 People's Choice Award. But why don't we just jump into it, so Martina can tell you more about the amazing ride she's on in her own words. Please welcome Miss Martina Ortiz-Luis. Hi, Martina. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for asking. Thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. I really appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Also, I wanted to start by congratulating you on all of your recent successes. You are on quite the ride these days.
Thank you.
Do you pinch yourself or look at your life and say, wow, I can't believe this is my life?
Yeah, I think there have just been so many incredible things that I'm just really grateful that I've been able to experience a lot of the things that I've experienced, especially in the last year or so. It's like, I'm just really thankful. It's been really incredible and it's been a crazy ride for sure. But, you know, I've worked my whole life for this, and I've been working for it. So it's rewarding in a sense, but it's been really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people often refer to artists as overnight successes, but there aren't really many overnight successes. People have worked at it for a long time in the background. When before they can get to that level where you get to present yourself to the world in the way that you have. You've been working on this since you were. I guess you told me before that your parents noticed that you had a proclivity for picking up songs quickly when you were like 2 years old. Is that right?
Yeah. So what happened was when I was about 2 years old, my parents noticed that that I picked up tunes pretty quickly and that I could, sing them, and that I had vibrato and that I could, sustain phrases. And so they thought that was pretty interesting. So they went to this music school and asked if I could start doing voice lessons there. And at first, they were a little bit iffy about that because the school said that they don't take anyone under 6 years old to start lessons. But the vocal coach there said that she'd give me a try and see if I would pick up anything that she taught me. And so she sat me down in the room and was just really surprised that I was actually able to, follow along and I was paying attention to what she was doing. So, so then I just started doing private lessons from there. And then I started performing when I was 4, and it's been a journey since then.
Yeah. And you were saying that you've now continued studying music at the university level as well. So you're starting to study a lot of different genres of singing and music that you hadn't when you were younger.
Well, I was technically trained in musical theater and classical music at a young age. I was doing the Royal Conservatory of Music program, and which is mainly kind of classical and musical theater. But I'd always liked to. always loved to sing like pop and R&B soul stuff ever since I was a kid.
Right.
And now in university, I'm in a classical performance program at the University of Toronto. And so we mainly do kind of the classical and operatic stuff. And for me, I just really like to learn the classical style of singing because of the technique and just, making sure that I'm taking care of my voice and not hurting myself, and
Right.
Just making sure everything's in tune, finely tuned, so that I can carry that with me in my, singing outside of school. And even in, like acting and stuff where you have to be talking so much and, doing multiple takes and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to protect your voice.
Of course.
There was, I was mentioning to you that Celine Dion had surgery a bunch of years ago on her vocal cords as well because of the strain that she had put on her voice. So it's good to learn how to sing in a manner that doesn't put strain on your vocal cords to that extent when you're young, so you don't have to run into that problem as you get older.
Yeah, of course. And it's like it's the same with athletes. People don't realize that singing actually requires a lot of body work and muscles and breathing technique and stuff like that. And it's just like an athlete, like you have to make sure that your body's in shape and that you're taking care of yourself so that you can have that endurance and have the ability to, keep on singing and not injure yourself.
Yeah. How did you first start getting yourself out there to people who are not part of your family, that sort of thing, people who were not part of your immediate community? Was YouTube, did that play a big part in getting yourself out there as a performer?
When I was younger, I don't think YouTube was that big yet.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of just like, I think my music school kind of encouraged me and my parents to put me into competitions and stuff. So one of the first competitions I joined was when I was about 4 years old, I think. And that was the first time I performed for other people outside of my family, I think. And then one of my most memorable kind of first competitions, I guess, was when I was 5 years old and I sang for the York Region Talent Search competition that was held at Newmarket Theatre. And I was 5 years old and I was singing in the 12 and under category. And I remember I sang Tomorrow from Annie. Yeah. And, I won first place. My entire family was there and I was in the paper and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I was, I just remember I was like really young and I don't think I really understood what was happening. All I knew was that I got to sing on stage and then I won this pretty trophy. I think I started more in competitions. And then after I won that competition, I started getting invited to corporate events and stuff like that. And it just kind of started building up from there. And it kind of just like performing just became a really big part of my life from then on, I think.
Was there a moment was there a moment where you caught yourself thinking, this is maybe something I could do for the rest of my life? Or did you kind of always feel that way? Or
I think I've kind of always felt that way, but I definitely felt more grounded in it and more confident in it when I, as I got older. And but it's always been something that I've loved to do. And I just love entertaining and performing. And I think that's always just been in me. So, yeah.
And you're talking about competitions that you remember that stick out in your mind. You also had an opportunity to go back to your parents' homeland, the Philippines, and do the Voice Kids Philippines there, right?
Yes, I did. I think that was in 2015, I think. And I was 13 and I just sent in a video and I was in school one day and my dad picked me up from school and he was like, yeah, so you're flying out to the Philippines tomorrow. And it just happened so quickly. and they invited me to, do the live auditions. And then I did a few rounds. I made it to the top 6 of my team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great experience. I think I made a lot of friends, and I was young, and my coach Bamboo was so helpful and so nice. And so that's definitely also an experience that I'll carry myself for the rest of my life.
I'm guessing you probably also picked up a bunch of fans in the Philippines that probably still follow you today, right?
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about Filipino fans is that they're very loyal, I think, especially when they see another Filipino, striving in the arts and, trying to push for that type of career. And so it's been pretty cool. Yeah. To see, to have them kind of just follow along on my journey ever since then. Yeah.
Well, I was really blown away. I saw a documentary, about Journey and about how they had hired on Arnel Pinella. Pinella, I think is his last name.
Yeah.
Pineda,
Yes.
to be their singer. And when they kind of talked about what he had been through, it seemed like there was a real culture in the Philippines of performance and singing, and that there were like a huge number of bands there, cover bands, that competed and were traveling around the world to help earn money to send back to families. It seemed like there's a real culture of pop music.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's really, it's kind of a historic thing that I won't get too into, but yeah, I think, I mean, Filipinos love karaoke, and most households, Filipino households, will have like a karaoke machine.
Okay.
My family doesn't, but which is really ironic considering I'm the singer of the family. But I think it's like, I think the Spanish brought over their love of music, and then karaoke became a big thing, and when American boy bands were a thing. They would test out their music on, the Filipino audience, yeah. And so I think like pop music and stuff and pop culture has just been a very big influence on Filipinos, and we've loved to sing and dance and all that stuff. So yeah, for sure, I really think singing is a big part of our culture.
That's pretty cool, because that sounds like you're going to have that audience follow you for as long as you want to do this. I hope so. Yeah. Well, in talking about when opportunities arise, how did you get the opportunity to audition for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
It's actually kind of a funny story. So for their 100th season, they were looking for a permanent anthem singer for the year. Mm-hmm. And they were promoting it on social media and in commercials, and a good family friend of ours saw it and suggested that I just try out. And I was 15 at the time. This was back in 2016, I think. And I was just like, yeah, I'll try for it. I'll go for it. Why not? And actually, the night before the audition, my parents and I completely forgot about it. And then we were like, oh, wait, we have to do something tomorrow. And then we looked up the audition call for this anthem thing for the Leafs. And it said that the auditions opened at 8 a.m. So we were like, oh my God, we have to be there super early. And so we got there around 7:30 for an 8 a.m. audition call. Yeah. And there was already a line going out the Scotiabank Arena.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and it was crazy. I had to do multiple rounds that day, and it was a little nerve-wracking because for me, I was one of the younger ones there, and the other people that were auditioning were kind of anthem veterans who had already been on rotation for the Leafs and the Raptors and the Marlies and the Jays, and they all kind of knew each other, and so it was a bit intimidating, but I kind of just thought, I'll just try it. I'll just do my best and see how it goes. I didn't want to think too much of it. And then and then a couple weeks later, my mom got the call and we were all like freaking out. And then it was like another thing that just happened so quickly. They were like, oh yeah, so in September we're going to fly you out to Halifax for our preseason games and you're going to sing out there and just try it out and we'll see how it goes. And then, yeah. And then they've kept me for about 4 years now. So it's been a journey with them too.
Yeah, no kidding. So what's it like to stand in the middle of Scotiabank Arena and have, what is it? It's over 20,000 people. You just focused on you.
I mean, I've always really loved the experience. I mean, like 4 years later, I still feel like a rush when I go out there. It never gets old. I never get tired of it. It's, I mean, I don't think I ever really got nervous. The great thing about singing in like a big arena is that you can just feed off the energy of the crowd. That's what I've noticed. Especially, you know, at a sports game, everyone's like riled up, everyone's ready to go. And so you can feed off of that energy and kind of just give them what you got so that you can pump them up for the game and hopefully pump up the players.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's just a great experience. I've loved it. And
is it difficult to sing in that arena? I mean, is there a big echo? I know some stadiums are worse than others, or arenas.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It has a weird kind of feedback echo thing to it. Mm-hmm. And it took some getting used to. And then especially, you know, with the echo and then with the crowd screaming, sometimes it can kind of get, sometimes you can't hear yourself or you can't even hear yourself think. But I was able to get through it for my first couple of seasons. And then I actually started wearing in-ears and like I want to say like halfway through my second season or maybe my third season, I started wearing in-ears just so I could hear myself more, especially by the end, because that's when the crowd kind of gets all pumped up and stuff. Yeah. So I usually wear an in-ear in one ear and then take out the other one so that I can hear the crowd and feed off their energy. Yeah. So that's kind of how I've been dealing with it. But it's really interesting to navigate your way through that. The arena type of sound stuff. Yeah.
I bet. And do you find was one anthem harder to sing than the other? Or do you feel more pressure singing your own anthem or is it just you kind of see them both the same way?
I love to sing both. They're both very different. I mean, I think the American one is more kind of, you have more freedom to kind of, you know, throw a little flair here and there. And it's also written just as a more soulful song, whereas the Canadian anthem is more of a hurrah, like anthem, like march song. Yeah. But I love the Canadian anthem because, you know, I think Canadians like to sing our anthem a lot more. So I love to just hear the crowd singing along with me. I think that's also a great experience. It's kind of just like this big community, just, you know, singing, you know, their love for the country and all that. And they're two very different songs, but you have their own, they have their own little bits that you love about performing them, for sure.
Right. Yeah. And what has it been like during the COVID-19 shutdown? So of course, as we know, the NHL just wrapped up their playoffs, and of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs were in the playoffs, and half of the games were played at Scotiabank Arena, and then half of the games were played in Edmonton. Now, they didn't. The anthem singers were not part of the bubble, correct?
No.
But you were still singing the anthem. How did you do that? Remotely?
Yeah, they asked me to sing from home for the first game, and then they used recordings from previous games for the rest of that round. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see how that kind of like panned out and how the other anthem singers sang remotely for their teams. I thought that was pretty cool. But it was definitely weird to not be in the arena and kind of just singing in my basement to my phone.
Yeah.
And hoping that the players find it okay.
Yeah. That it still has that, it's still the same rallying cry that it is if you're doing it live in the arena.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And when you become an anthem singer, does that mean that all kinds of other organizations are sending you emails and calling you all the time saying, can you come and sing the anthem here and there at this event? Is that something that's a thing?
Yeah, like I've gotten invited to sing the anthem at a few places. I've done some events at the ROM. For your listeners who don't know what the ROM is, it's the Royal Ontario Museum. And for some races at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, I've gotten to do a couple NASCAR races, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I've gotten invited to sing for a lot of different places, and it's been pretty cool to, you know, be a part of the Leafs organization and kind of represent them at these events, which is really interesting. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, people who are listening who don't live in Canada wouldn't quite understand how this team in particular plays such a large role on the public stage, on the sports stage, because the team's been around for so long, and and the fan base is so
crazy. You can say
crazy,
it.
rabid, fervent, whatever it is. It really is. They're like, you know, even when we are not doing well at all, the fans are there and they are loud and they are involved. So to be part of that, I mean, what a great way to promote yourself on the stage and get attention for your singing and songwriting outside of that building. When did you start writing your own music?
I started writing ever since I was a kid, and I think I started to really take it seriously when I was about 12. That was when I released my first song, actually, True Friends. And it was like this little cutesy thing. And then when I was 13, I was asked to write the official Christmas jingle for the World Vision Christmas catalog campaign. So they use that for like their radio promo and commercials and stuff. And then I kind of just been writing ever since. And I recently released a song called No Love, which I co-wrote with this great producer, T, who's worked with Alessia Cara and Drake and Rihanna and all that stuff. And this other great songwriter, Ali Sue. She's amazing. And so, I love songwriting. I've continued to do it, and I've got more things that I've written in my back pocket that I'm hoping to release soon. And yeah.
And is that when do you is there a certain time that you find to write, or do you have to put time aside, or do things just kind of jump into your head and then you grab a pad of paper? How does that work for you?
Comes in very different ways, I think. During the lockdown, I had a lot of time to kind of work on my own stuff.
Sure. And,
because things were less hectic, and it was great to just sit down with like a notebook and just write stuff down, and then, sit at the piano and get some chords down and stuff like that. But I just have I don't even have a set process, I don't think, because sometimes things will come to me literally at 3 a.m. and I'll write stuff down in my phone. I'll get out of bed and write stuff down. So I don't think I have a set process.
Yeah. One of the things I find really interesting about R&B culture and hip hop culture these days is that they do something that rock and roll used to do but doesn't do anymore, and that is that artists collaborate with each other a lot. I mean, you see everybody, doing collaborations with other singers, or singers doing collaborations with hip hop artists. Is that something now that you're starting to get calls about to collaborate with other artists?
Yeah, and actually, I love that you brought this up, because I'm hoping to release a song in the next month or so, and I actually got this really great female rapper, Coca-Nina, on the track, and she's really talented, and I think the song really came together really well. And so, I just really think that well, especially here in Toronto with the musicians here, like we all just really want to support each other. And because there's just so much talent, not just in the city, but, you know, Canada is just full of that arts passion and full of talent. And so I think we really just want to help each other out and just make music with each other and see how it goes. It's definitely like a collaborative experience and just like a creative experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always, I find that amazing. And I'm surprising too when an artist will surprise you and bring in another artist. You're just like, wow, where did that come from? One I'm thinking about right now was Post Malone on his last album. He brought in Ozzy Osbourne. Like Ozzy Osbourne must be he must be almost 70 years old. And it was such a genius move because all of a sudden he opens up himself to an older audience. But, there you go. All of a sudden you got so many new fans on your doorstep from being an out of the box thinker like that. It's really, really interesting move.
Yeah, I mean, there's this one collaboration that I found really interesting. It was with Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Chris Stapleton. So it's like Ed Sheeran, who's very folk singer songwriter-y, and then you have Bruno Mars, who's like in that realm of like pop, funk, soul, R&B, and Chris Stapleton, who's like a I want to say he's a country singer. And like they just absolutely ripped it on this like hardcore rock single. Yeah. And it was just great to see like all of the different flavors that they had, but kind of come together in more of like a rock realm. And it's just pretty cool to see more artists collaborating with each other and kind of like uplifting each other and just collaborating for the sake of art and just, for the creativeness of it. So, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Chris Stapleton a lot. And the thing about him too, is you're talking about, he's a country music artist, but he's not like a new country music artist. He's really old school, like Willie Nelson, all those old guys and stuff. So for him to be doing projects with all these, I wouldn't say younger artists, because Chris Stapleton's not an older artist. He's still in his 30s. So it's so interesting to see those kinds of matchups. I think that's really, really neat. And it says a lot for the artists who are thinking differently about who they want to work with and branching out that way. It's pretty cool. Very cool.
And he's a country singer, but like on this track, he sings rock so well. And he just has like, his voice just suits it so well. And I'm just like interested to see if he'll do more stuff like that, because it was just so good, and his voice is just incredible. So yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe
you'll get a chance to work with Chris Stapleton. Who knows, right? Put it out there, and put it out there into the universe and see what happens.
Yeah.
Who would be your dream artist to do work on a project with?
I mean, I want to say two of my biggest influences of all time have been like Beyonce and Bruno Mars. Love those two. I watch both of their Super Bowl performances like constantly, all the time. I love those two, but also I just really love the talent coming out of Canada and Toronto right now. Like I love Daniel Caesar and Jesse Reyes, and I love Shawn Mendes too. And and another duo that I really love, they're not from Toronto, but they're doing really great stuff right now, is Chloe and Halle. Okay. And they're just I just love they're kind of I don't want to say new, because I know they've been in the game for a while, but their stuff is starting to get more traction now. But they're doing great stuff, R&B, pop stuff, and they're really great. I think that's who I'd say. I gave you kind of just like a splurge of different artists, but right.
I'm sure there's a long list of people that you'd like to work with given the opportunity.
Oh, for sure.
And so now you're meeting people, you're getting out there, you're traveling probably in different circles as you get a bit older and meet more people. How do you keep your head screwed on straight when your life is kind of expanding like this, and opportunities are arising and you're meeting all kinds of new people? How do you stay grounded?
definitely think that my family grounds me, and just like, I honestly don't know. I kind of just do what I got to do, and I try not to think too much about any negative stuff, especially on social media. Like that can be difficult, but I try not to dwell on the negative stuff, and I try to stay thankful for all the things that do happen rather than the stuff that doesn't happen, and all the good stuff that happens rather than the negative stuff. So I think that's kind of what's helped me keep my head on.
Yeah. Do you try to do you try to keep away from social media, or because people will project things, people don't know you, they'll project things on you, and people who have too much time on their hands will get online and spread all kinds of stuff. Do you try to avoid reading some of that stuff, or do you like to kind of see what people are saying about you and your music and you're working for the Leafs and all that kind of stuff?
The thing is I love social media. I'm a Gen Z kid, so social media has always been part of my life, and I love it for entertainment and stuff. Yes, I do get negative comments, but I really don't care. I just don't care. I see them and I have to laugh, because the things that some people come up with, I'm like, your imaginations are incredible. Please become a writer. What are you doing on Twitter? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing in my Instagram comments? Like, it's use your creativity for something else, honestly. But I don't really care. I just find it kind of funny. But it's great. Like, I think social media is such a great platform to just be able to connect with the people that do support you. And just like the people that have supported me, that are from outside of Canada. It's just been really cool to connect with them, and kind of it's just cool to see how, my music can get to the Philippines and Australia and like Puerto Rico, and especially with, the show, Winona Earp that I'm currently on. I'm just plugging now. Their fan base is incredible, and they're from all over the world, and I just love being able to connect with them and to chat with them and see what's up. But with everything else on social media, I try to not pay attention to all the noise.
Yeah. I understand. Now, I'm glad you mentioned Winona Earp, because I was going to ask you. So how did you get into acting? What was the how did that door open up for you?
I've just loved acting ever since I was a kid, and I started taking acting lessons when I was about 11 or 12 at Armstrong Acting Studios. So mainly film TV style. And then when I was 14, I played the lead role of like Jane Banks in this production of Mary Poppins. And so I've just loved acting for a while now. And I've had an agent, and I've gone on countless auditions for the last few years. And, I auditioned for Winona back in December, and I kind of forgot about it for a couple of weeks because, like I said earlier, I try not to think too much about what doesn't happen. And, and so I kind of just forgot about it for a bit. And I was sitting in this lecture at school in January, and I felt my phone buzz, and I checked it, and it was this email that said that they were considering me for the role. And so I literally sat there in this lecture trying not to scream. My friend's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, and then, so then I went for a callback on a Thursday. On the Saturday, I got the call that they wanted me for the role, and they wanted to fly me out to Calgary. And so then on Sunday, I flew out to Calgary, and I didn't even know how long I was going to be there. I had no idea what I was doing. This is my first time doing a major acting role for a TV show. So, it all just happened so quickly. But it's been great. Yeah,
it is amazing how quickly that all comes together between the audition, booking it, and then being on set. It
Oh
happens so
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And so this is a show, though. Winona Earp is a show that's really taken off with its audience. It's been nominated for a People's Choice Award, right? Or it's in the running, and it's
Yes.
up to people to vote for it, right, at this point.
And the funny thing is that they've actually won this exact award in 2018.
Okay.
And then after that, the show kind of got canceled and no one knew if it was coming back. And like this year, it finally aired again after 2 years. And now they're nominated for we're nominated for a People's Choice Award. And it's pretty crazy because this is the first time I've ever been a part of something as big as this. And so, yeah, voting continues from until October 23. And so we'll see what happens. It's pretty cool.
Your fans can go online and vote for you. How did they do that? I think that it's E that produces the People's Choice Awards, right?
Yes, so they can go to pca.eonline.com, and when they're voting, they can go to the TV section, and we're up for Sci-Fi Fantasy Show of 2020. And they can vote up to 25 times a day. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And you can vote from anywhere, pretty much. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm going to have to go vote for you, and we'll have to encourage all of our listeners to get online and vote for you as well. Vote for the cast. That'd be pretty exciting if the show wins your category.
Yeah, it would be really amazing.
And so you, from what I understand, so you started shooting back in, you said you were shooting in January. That's right?
Yeah, we started in January, and we were supposed to film from January to May. But because of the COVID lockdown, we stopped halfway through in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went back in like the end of July, I think, until the middle of September. And yeah, I mean, the first half aired from July, I want to say 26 to about the beginning of September. And the back half is going to be aired sometime in early 2021.
Right. And the series shoots in Alberta, is that right?
Yeah, we shoot in Calgary pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So what was the difference when you got the call to say that we're going to resume shooting under new guidelines and safety precautions? What was that like? What was the big difference in shooting under those circumstances?
I mean, it was pretty weird. Like, I want to say it was a bit of a challenge, but also it was kind of, for me, more so, I think, because I was just, I kind of was just starting out. Yeah. Even back in like January to March. And so I was just getting used to everything then. And then they started changing all these different things when I went back in July. But it was really great. I mean, I think they handled it really well. Because we were the first production in all of North America, I think, to go back to filming.
Oh.
And and it was really different. Everyone except the actors was wearing masks for like 12 to 14 hours a day. Everything was so different. I mean, the way that you had to interact with even like the director was, and in rehearsals and blocking, it was all different. And, but I think they handled it really well. And like, there was not a moment when I felt unsafe. And, they tested us regularly, like every few days. Yeah. And so, and it was kind of crazy the way they put it all together, and pretty quickly too. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how much the industry changes and how, what kind of guidelines stick around beyond, when things are closer to normal or what they used to be like, how much the industry changes to adapt to this, and whether or not some of those safeguards become long-term practices. I guess we won't know until we get to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. I mean, I've been reading the news, and I know some productions have kind of stopped for now because of the rising cases, and there are other productions that are taking it to a way bigger level than we did, in that they're literally wearing like full on like disinfectant suits and like
Right.
hazmat suits and masks
Yeah.
and face shields, and they've restricted everyone to specific zones and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens, especially in the next couple months where it's like flu season and stuff. Like, it's going to be crazy for sure.
Yeah. It's the old Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times.
Yeah.
So we certainly do.
For sure.
So do you have a favorite actor?
I don't. I mean, I love so many. I mean, there's so many great ones right now, and it's like there's just so many great shows and movies out right now. That it's like it's hard to choose. Growing up, I loved Emma Watson and Zendaya. I love Zendaya so much, and my dad used to make me watch like old school movies, like Stallone movies, and he'd make me watch, Scorsese movies, all that stuff when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And so I've just like had this really weird taste in like film, TV, where I've had all these different influences and things that I've liked. So I can't really say specifically like who's my favorite, but.
Well, that's cool that you were introduced to so many different artists and directors at a young age. Is there a director that you would love to work for?
Oh my God, there are way too many. I can't even.
It's not a fair question.
Just choose one.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're going to have all kinds of opportunities to audition for and book some great roles in the future. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. It's also a really crazy time considering everything that's happening in the world right now. But we'll see how it goes. All I know is I've kept on. I've been working my hardest and my best and doing what I got to do, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of audiences or a lot of people out there realize how many of the big films and productions are shot in Canada and specifically in Toronto. I mean, Toronto does such a good job of faking other cities. So we shoot so much stuff here, and then it's more affordable to shoot here because of the dollar. And then on top of it right now, because of what's going on in the U.S. with the high COVID numbers, there are more and more productions that are showing up on our doorstep. So opportunities are there.
Yeah, it's been really cool to kind of see the industry kind of boom here. And it's really funny because, most of my life has revolved around going downtown. And so in the last few years, like walking down the street and seeing like closed off streets and trailers and big trucks filming things has been pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of walking around downtown, do you find you get recognized a lot, or can you still blend in and be part of the crowd?
Like I really personally, I don't think of myself as like a I don't know, like a famous or like well-known person.
Right.
But there are those like, it's funny that people, when I'm on the subway sometimes, I'll like walk by a group of people and they'll be like whispering to themselves and you can audibly hear them be like, that's the Anthem girl. Or like, yeah. And it's funny. It happens on the subway most of the time. I don't know what it is about the subway, but people usually recognize me as the Leafs anthem singer on the subway. Yeah. It's pretty funny. But yeah.
And what do people do when they recognize you? Do they want autographs? Do they want you to do selfies or record something for them? Or
you know what? I mean, yeah, sometimes, it's an odd selfie. Sometimes they just want to chat. And what I really like, and, a lot of other artists that I know that have gone to the States and are like more well-known in the States as well, have told me that Canadians are really good at not bothering you for pictures and videos and stuff. Yeah. I guess that's also why a lot of celebrities like to stay in Canada or like to visit here. But yeah, like I usually just have like pretty chill conversations with people. Like people don't usually bug me for anything too crazy. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes it'll be like the odd selfie and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about that too, because you're an anthem singer, is that, in other circumstances, probably more so, it would be that you would be meeting people your own age or, relatively in your peer group. But because you're singing the anthem, you're out there and you're being seen and heard by people from all different age groups. So it's probably,
100%,
fairly often that it's senior citizens or people who are a lot older than you recognize you on the street and want to have a chat with you.
Mm-hmm. And it can be very interesting, but for the most part, they've all been very lovely experiences and just like nice chats. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I think if you carry yourself nicely, and I think when people see somebody like that who carries themselves nicely, they you get that kind of vibe back. People will deal with you on the street in that same sort of way with a certain amount of respect and decorum. Mm-hmm. I guess.
I mean, I guess so, but yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
So, what are you excited about next? You're excited about auditioning for more roles, releasing some new music that you've written. What are the big goalposts for you right now?
I mean, I have a lot of songs that I've been working on. I was just in the studio last week working on a couple originals. And so I have some stuff in my back pocket that I'm really looking forward to releasing soon in the next couple months. And, Wynonna is going to be airing early 2021. So I'm really looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. And I've been auditioning for some stuff, but once again, with the COVID situation, a lot of things are being halted right now. So it's hard to say, but, I've been, music's coming out. Wynonna's coming out soon. People's Choice Awards. Yeah. And that's pretty much
So how does it work these days when you release music? Where's the first place that people can listen to your music?
On pretty much anything, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, I think it's called, Google Music. Yep. You can find my music on pretty much every platform once I release stuff. And I have a couple stuff up on there now. And so, you can just check out my social media for more updates on that. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff.
Well, you got lots of exciting things happening right now, and it must be you must be having a lot of fun right now. So I just want to wish you the best, and I think you've got a lot of Canadian fans that are excited to see what you do next, and Canadian fans love seeing local talent make it on the big stage and be able to do well in the U.S. and abroad. So I think it'll be exciting to watch you, and I'm sure it's going to continue to be quite the ride for you.
Oh, thank you so much, and it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you.
Well, continued success, and thank you once again for chatting with me today. It was a real pleasure, and it's so fun that we have the same talent agent, Jessica Martins of Hero Artists. It was nice that she was able to connect us so we can have this chat today. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cheers. Take care.
All right, see you.
My thanks to Martina Ortiz-Luis for spending time with me and for sharing her very cool story. As Martina mentioned, if you want to support her and the cast and crew of Wynonna Earp by voting for the show and their nomination for a People's Choice Award, visit pca.eonline.com, click on TV, then click on the Sci-Fi Fantasy Show of 2020 box, then click on Wynonna Earp. You can vote up to 25 times a day, and voting is open until October 23rd. Also, thank you very much again to Mr. Jerry Stamp, who wrote and performed the Cool Story theme song and all other jingles and stings that appear on this show. Do yourselves a favor and look for Jerry's music wherever you stream. And finally, thank you for listening. Until next time, pura vida.
Everybody's had some adventures. Everybody's had a few close calls. Everybody's got a story. What's yours?